Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take. Sorry I've been busy the past couple days, but now I'm going to finally get to my takeaways from the NFL in Week 2 and my predictions for Week 3. So let's get right into it. So for the Thursday night football game with the Chargers and Chiefs, the Chiefs, as always, do find a way to win a game. Even if it's a game that they should have won or whatever, the case may be. But the Chargers' O-line injuries did not help, and obviously just Herbert being helped, hurting his ribs did not help hurt either. But the good news for Chargers fans is that he's only day, so he hopefully doesn't have to miss any games. Especially since I have him on one of my fantasy teams. I'm really hoping he doesn't miss any games. Then you got the Jets versus Browns. There's that phrase, it's never over, till the buzzer sounds, and that was the case in this game. All the Browns had to do was, whether it's Jacoby Brissett or Nick Chubb, just take a knee. It's 155 left. There's no timeouts left for the Jets. All you have to do is just take a knee, but instead Chubb scores. Jets get a quick 6-yard touchdown, get the onside kick, and then they march downfield, score again, and they end up winning because the Browns, when they did score a touchdown with 55, the kicker missed the extra point. So it was just one of those crazy innings. And now with the struggling, Cincinnati team coming in, if he can win that game before Zach Wilson potentially returns for next week, going 2-1, that's a best case scenario. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Jets. And as far as the Browns go, this in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really matter because again, like I didn't have the Browns making the playoffs this year because of how long Watson is suspended for. Um, of course, it's not good to blow a lead like that, but it is what it is. Commanders versus Lions. Lions once again showed me that last week, was not a fluke offensively. They got good pieces on offense. Amon St. Brown, um, DeAndre Swift, and all that, to make themselves interesting. And their defense, being inconsistent will be an issue going forward. As far as Washington Commanders goes, they have many issues right now to solve, and they need to just pick one of the least to work on, whether it's the offensive line, pass protection, or giving up, long D bombs or whatever the case may be. Buccaneers versus Saints. Winston became, you know, 30 for 30 once again, where he's just going to start throwing picks again. To me, since he has been reported before the game, he had a lot of back, injury, issues and all that, and his back is in pain and all that. It's like I know you just want to try to give it a go, but in that case, just go with Andy Dalton. He's a fine, capable backup. He will perform better than an injury-riddled Jameis Winston. I'm sorry, he will. Even Taysom Hill will perform better than an injury Jameis Winston. So if I'm to say that's the direction I go there, if Winston's not going to be close to being 100% healthy. Panthers versus Giants. I'm still not buying to the Giants. So I will give credit for them finding different ways to win these first two games, but their luck will eventually run out. The concern of for Baker Mayfield behind a Bontel offensive line is being manifest right now. If you're a Panthers fan, if they can't figure out how to overcome that quick, then the Panthers season and Matt Rule's NFL career will be over sooner rather than later. Patriots versus Steelers. Talk about snooze fest here. Patriots took advantage of a muff punt in the second half, and they ended up that being the difference in the game as they won by 3. Patriots offense, still has issues going forward. Steelers, in my opinion, need to consider starting Kenny Pickett. I know Mike Tomlin's not going there yet, but they need to really start considering that. Colts versus Jaguars. Obviously, not having their stars, Michael Pittman Jr. and their star linebacker Shaquille Leonard, hurts, but the fact that the Colts offense just looked so bad and produced a donut against the Jags defense is not good. Colts problems besides Matt Ryan are looking, are just looking bad. And if I'm Frank Wright, my hot seat is very hot right now. Dolphins versus Ravens. Like I said, Tua still has a ceiling. Let's not overreact to this. He took advantage of a bad secondary. Um, but as I also said, even before the season started, having Tyreek Hill to go along with Jalen Waddle is just going to be a lot for defenses to handle. So having that along with the offensive mind coach will make him look better than he actually is. So again, I don't trust the Dolphins going forward. Falcons versus Rams. I predicted that this would be a closer game than expected, and sure enough, I was right. For some reason, the Rams, just don't have that same magic as last year when they won the Super Bowl. Yes, they can get better, and still too early, dismiss them as a Super Bowl contender. I'm not going that far yet, but they were lucky to not blow this lead against Atlanta, and they have some things to figure out. Seahawks versus 49ers. 49ers did the right thing by not trading Jimmy G. With Trey Lance out for the year now, Jimmy G still gives the 49ers a chance to reach their goals and all that. Also, the doubts about Trey Lance now will be amplified. And to me, it's like, I know it's still too early, but just because of the fact that he didn't play a lot of football in college or so far in the NFL, now he's already injured, it's just like, so far looks like he might, become a bust label, but we'll see how that goes. And as far as Seattle goes, like I predicted, they're a bottom five team. I didn't buy to them after the win against Denver, and I was right. Bengals versus Cowboys. Cooper Rush once again got the job done, like he did the one time last year. It puts a pause on the doom and gloom chance, for right now for Cowboys fans. For Cincinnati, though, that Super Bowl loser hangover myth was looking to be very true. They just didn't look good. They supposedly, fixed their line in the offseason, and I, thought that too, but apparently they must have gotten the wrong pieces for their line. It's not just upgrade, doesn't matter, it has to be the right pieces apparently, but they have to figure that O line out if they want to avoid, going down 0-3 and ruin their playoff chances. Texans versus Broncos. While the Broncos won, the alarms might already need to go off right now. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach, is still looking, bad, whether it's play calling or burning through timeouts or team committing a lot of penalties, whatever the case may be. If the Broncos miss the playoffs, by the way, because of Hackett, then he is going to be one of those one and done coaches. Because the Broncos with that roster ain't going to settle for this. Cardinals versus Raiders. Credit to the Cardinals for finding a way to get the job done. They need to start games faster and better if they want to survive the next 4 games without DeAndre Hopkins. As for the Raiders, they had the most one-possession wins last season, so that usually doesn't carry over from season to season. So it appears their luck has run out as far as one-possession games go, and this may cost them their playoff dreams. Bears versus Packers. Packers still don't look perfect. Gave up way too many rushing yards on defense, and we already know if Jones and Dillon didn't go off, then they would have nothing. But at least the Packers took care of business like they were supposed to. And I was also right, not buying into the Bears after Week 1, like the Seahawks. They're a bona fide team. And then Titans, Bills. Buffalo's looking like the Georgia of college football right now. Now, unlike Georgia, I'm not going to say it's Bills of the field, but I mean, Bills are definitely looking like the top team in the NFL right now. If they lose, it's because they beat themselves, basically. For the Titans, it's not doom and gloom yet since this division is very weak, but the Titans specifically needs to figure out things if they want to improve and make the playoffs. And then Vikings and Eagles. The Eagles should once again, last week was not a fluke on offense, and on defense, it may have been a fluke as they got more turnovers and played better this time against the Vikings, good Vikings offense. And I hate to say it, but the Eagles, definitely look like, one of the contenders in the NFC. Now, I thought, they were just going to win a division, nothing more, but now I'm starting to think, okay, maybe they can actually finally do something in the playoffs. We'll see how they do. Now for the Week 3 NFL schedule, it starts off tonight, Thursday Night Football game between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Both teams 1-1. Cleveland's a 5-point favorite here. To me, this is going to be a very low-scoring game. While Pittsburgh doesn't have T.J. Watt, their defense is good and they can contain Cleveland's offense now, especially since Jacoby Brissett's quarterback, and Cleveland's just going to run the ball. Steelers can stop the run, well. Like it's just passing where that's the question mark there. But because it's at home and Cleveland wants to avenge that horrible loss to the Jets, where they should have won that game. And with also just Mitchell Trubisky not looking good on Pittsburgh side of things, I am going to take Cleveland here. I'm not sure. I don't think they'll cover, but I'll take them to win 14-10 type of score. Next, on Sunday you got Texans 0-1 versus the Bears who are 1-1. Bears are barely a favorite here at home, and this is basically a coin flip type of game here because I think both teams are like bottom 5 NFL teams. So since the Bears are at home, I'm just going to give them the advantage here. Although I could see it going either way. I have Bears winning by like 1 point, 17-16. Next, you get the Raiders 0-2 versus the Titans 0-2. A very important game here for both teams. I feel like the loser of this game will most likely not make the playoffs. So I feel like it's very important, especially in the Raiders' case. They're in a tough division versus the Titans, where maybe they can overcome a 0-3 deficit in their weak division. But I know it's in Tennessee, but I know the Raiders are a better team here, and therefore I'm going to take them to get the win here. I'm going to take them 24-20. Chiefs versus Colts. I know this. I don't think the Colts are still going to do anything right now. Take the Chiefs all day, every day here. I'm going to take the win in the blowout. They'll win by like at least 3 or 4 touchdowns. Um, Bills versus Dolphins, a battle of two no teams going out of here. Bills are about 5 point favorites here. Again, I'm not buying into the Dolphin type here. I feel like the Bills' defensive line will cause problems with the Miami O line, and I feel like while the Bills, secondary won't stop Waddle and Hill, they'll contain them way better than the Ravens secondary did. So, and plus two has just struggled against the Bills every single time he's played them. So I'm going to take Buffalo to win here, like a 38-20 type of game. And that may be generous, Bills winning by more. Next, you have the Lions versus Vikings. One-on-one teams going out of here. Vikings are 7 point favorites. Um, I think the Vikings are going to bounce back here. Their offense is going to look way better because Detroit's defense is consistent. However, I do think the Vikings on defense is not great, and I feel like the Lions can still produce something on offense here. So it's going to be a good game here with a lot of scoring. But I'm going to take the Vikings to win here by a touchdown at home, 27-20. Ravens versus Patriots, but another battle one-on-one teams here. Ravens are around 3 point favorites. I'm going to take the Ravens to win here, and I don't even think it'll be within one possession. I think they'll win easily here. Now I know their second best wide receiver, Duvernay, is questionable with concussion-like symptoms and all that. But I do feel like Patriots, they don't have the weapons or to exploit a bad Ravens secondary. And then on offense, the Ravens have been humming on offense so far, and they face respectable defense like Miami. They're looking just super good. So I feel like um, the Patriots won't be able to slow down Lamar Jackson enough to where it'll get them to win. So I have Ravens winning by like 2 touchdowns. A 24-10 type of game. Next, you got the Bengals versus the Jets. Bengals are 5 point favorites here. I'm going to take the Bengals here to finally get on track here, but it's going to be a closer game. It's going to be a close game, Like that line at like 5 seems like pretty right, I'm going to take them with like 4 points, 20-24. And the Bengals have to come up with some magic in the fourth quarter to win this game. Eagles versus Commanders. I know this is an in-division game. In-division games, can always make things interesting. But I think the Eagles will not only win here, but they will easily cover here. I had this kind of like being like the Chiefs and Colts game I just described earlier. I feel like the Eagles win by multiple possessions here. I just don't feel like the Commanders' defense has been good at all this year, and therefore, so far this year, and I feel like the Eagles will just do whatever they want on offense. And on defense, I feel like they can make Carson Wentz make mistakes, like they made Kirk Cousins make mistakes. Saints versus Panthers. This would be a low-scoring, very close game. Um, it really all depends on how, because Saints have multiple injuries, so it all depends on how their injury report looks like going into this game. But I feel like the Saints will survive here on the road. I have them winning barely, 16-13. Jaguars versus Chargers. Chargers 7 point favorites here. I'm going to take the Chargers to win here, not only win but cover easily, assuming Herbert is fine. Because I feel like Jacksonville's defense won't be able to slow down the Chargers. And then Jacksonville on offense will finally start to show, maybe they'll have some issues, going against a really good Chargers defense. So I have Chargers winning like 30-13. Rams, Cardinals. Again, I'm not buying into the late matchup from the Cardinals. I thought they're going to struggle once again to the Rams here, get off to a slow start because that's been the issue so far. I feel like the Rams will win by 2 possessions here, like a 27-13 type of game here. Falcons Seahawks, again, a coin flip, take your game here, both bottom 5 teams. But I'll take Atlanta to finally get on the win column here, despite it being in Seattle. And I'll have them win by a field goal like 23-20. Packers Bucks. Bucks favored by just 1 or 2 points, but I'm going to take the Bucks here despite them not having Mike Evans, just because I really don't trust the Packers' weapons. And the Buccaneers' defense is that good. It's going to be low scoring. It's going to be like 13-10. And the 49ers Broncos Sunday football, I'm taking the 49ers here barely just because, again, I don't trust the Nathaniel Hackett right now in a close game situation, especially against a good team. So I have 49ers winning like a 2017 type of game. And then for Monday Night Football, Cowboys and Giants. The Giants will finally fall here, and the Cowboys will get another win with Cooper Rush and have them winning in a close game here, like 20-16. So thank you very much for listening to my podcast today. Subscribe to my channel to learn about me. Thank you very much, and y'all have a wonderful day.